Football stadiums, or Stadia, and indeed sports arenas in general, have taken on a whole new meaning over the last couple of decades. Largely inspired by some of the mega stadiums built in the United States, it's not enough to knock up a few stands with some seats and terraces these days. Oh no, don't be ridiculous. A sports stadium must now come complete with a corporate area, multiple function rooms, a 3,000-room hotel, a burger joint, 8 Dunkin' Donuts, a NASA training centre, and a 25,000 square foot nuclear bunker. Alright, I exaggerate, some of them only have 2 or 3 Dunkin' Donuts, but you get the idea. I've outed myself as a bit of a stadium enthusiast in the past, and I've made a few stadium-related videos as well, but none for a little while. I thought I'd right that wrong with a video about some of the most major proposed stadiums which clubs, councils or countries hope to build over the next few years. I've only included stadiums that will primarily host association football, and I've only included stadiums where there are pretty solid plans and designs already in place. The stadiums are ordered by proposed capacity, and I'll try to keep things quick since there might not be that many images for some of them. Here are 7 proposed megastadiums from around the world of football. The Stadio della Roma. Italian football is in dire need of fresh new stadia to replace the nation's decrepit and crumbling old grounds, and Roma are one of a number of clubs planning to do just that. Just as Juventus did almost a decade ago, Roma will leave a much larger but less hospitable home in favour of somewhere a little more intimate and comfortable. The Stadio della Roma will still be large, much larger than the Juventus Stadium in fact, with an expected capacity of 52,500, capable of being expanded to 60,000 should the demand be there. The first plans regarding the new ground came in 2012, but it has received setback after setback. Supposedly designed as a modern coliseum, Roma have had particular difficulties securing planning and approval from the Rome capital government, but they're surely in too deep now, and I'd be surprised if the Stadio della Roma was never built. The Stadio della Roma is very much like one of the stadium plans that I described in the introduction, intended to be part of a wider Roma village, featuring a business park, restaurants, and a museum. The Paul Biya Stadium. The next African Cup of Nations was scheduled to take place in Cameroon in June and July of 2021, but due to the climate in Cameroon at that time of year, the CAF decided to move the finals forward to January and February 2021. However, in June, the dates were changed for a second time due to the recent global health crisis, postponing the tournament until January and February of 2022. The tournament's flagship ground, built in the nation's capital city of Yaoundé, will be the Paul Biya Stadium. Named after Cameroon's president, the Paul Biya Stadium will have a capacity of 60,000, making it the 9th largest stadium in Africa. The ground will be complemented by 2 training grounds, a gymnasium, handball, basketball, volleyball and tennis venues, a 5-star hotel, a shopping centre, a museum and a cinema, all part of a major redevelopment project. The stadium was due to open in 2020, but one suspects it might not open its doors until 2021, given the AFCON's postponement and the COVID-19 pandemic. Bramley-Moore Dock Stadium. Another proposed stadium that has seen multiple setbacks before even breaking ground. I'm not sure if you're noticing a theme yet, but major projects like football stadiums tend to have 1 or 2 hiccups in terms of planning and construction. There seems to have been talk of Everton moving out of Goodison Park for all of my lifetime, but the idea of a stadium at the Bramley-Moore Dock was first floated in 2016. Despite Everton's stadium struggles in recent years, it does appear that there is widespread community support for construction and investment in the Bramley-Moore Dock area. The architect's designs focus on steel and brick, with the idea being that the ground will appear as though it has risen from the dock. Capacities of 52,888 and 62,000 have been suggested, with the stadium most likely being constructed with an initial capacity of 52,888, but the potential to be increased to 62,000. That's a significant upgrade on the 39,414 capacity of Goodison Park, and presumably with the new ground, away fans won't be stuck behind massive pillars that cover about 20% of your view of the pitch. The new Feyenoord Stadium. Talking about clubs who have taken an age to build a new ground, let me tell you a little bit about the provisionally named New Feyenoord Stadium. Plans for Feyenoord's new stadium were first unveiled in 2006, with proposals for an 85,000-seater ground that would be completed by 2017. In 2014, Feyenoord instead decided that they would renovate their current ground at Kuip to a 70,000-seater, with work which they hoped would be completed in 2018 with the addition of a retractable roof and a new training facility. However, in 2016, the club changed their minds again and decided that a new stadium would be their best bet after all, once again with scale-back plans in terms of capacity down to 63,000. By their current trajectory, Feyenoord will end up building a new ground in the year 2055 with a capacity of 452. Nonetheless, the club seems convinced that their most recent plans, finalised in 2017, will go ahead. They were given the go-ahead to begin construction in 2020, although the stadium still isn't expected to open until 2025. The new stadium, located right next to the newer Maas River, will replace Feyenoord's historic stadium, De Kuip. The club's home ground for more than 80 years now, De Kuip has a reduced capacity of 51,117 these days. Jakarta International Stadium. I suspect there will be a large number of subscribers to this channel who will never have heard of Persija Jakarta, since Indonesian football isn't particularly well followed outside of Asia, so you may be surprised to hear that they are currently building a stadium larger than that of any team in the Premier League. However, Persija Jakarta are Indonesia's most successful and best supported club. They currently play out of the 77,193 capacity Gelora Bung Karno Stadium, which is also the home of Indonesia's national team, but their new ground will be even bigger than that. The Jakarta International Stadium, which is already under construction, will have a capacity of 82,000, making it the largest stadium in a city which has a population larger than London and the 5th largest in the entire continent of Asia. The Jakarta International Stadium will also have the 2nd largest retractable roof on Earth, behind only the AT&T Stadium in Texas, a tiger stripe style facade and mosaic, and a hybrid grass surface. Lusail Iconic Stadium. I had to include one stadium from the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, and I might as well go for the biggest of the lot. The Lusail Iconic Stadium isn't just a new stadium, but part of a new city altogether, since the city of Lusail doesn't actually exist yet. A planned city on Qatar's east coast, Lusail is intended to one day have a population of 250,000 people and become something of a tourism hotspot. In the heart of the city will lie the Lusail Iconic Stadium, which will host the opening and closing ceremonies of the 2022 World Cup, in addition to the final, of course. Built on the water and surrounded by a moat, spectators will access the ground via 6 separate bridges around the stadium. With a proposed capacity in excess of 80,000 and possibly as high as 86,250, that would equate to over 3% of the entire population of Qatar. It's little wonder that the stadium's capacity is set to be reduced following the World Cup to just 40,000 then, and even then, it's unlikely to ever even come close to being filled after the World Cup. The city of Lusail is expected to cost Qatari authorities $45 billion in total, with the Lusail Iconic Stadium likely to eat up around $800 million of that budget. Despite that fact, the Qatari monarchs and decision makers are still paying workers slave wages, many of whom cannot even afford to leave their employment and return home, as the death toll among construction workers continues to rise. Guangzhou Evergrande Football Stadium. With the largest planned football stadium on Earth, Guangzhou Evergrande currently play at a 60,000-seater stadium, but they clearly don't feel that's quite big enough. The best supported team in the Chinese Super League, Guangzhou Evergrande, have an average attendance just shy of 50,000, and their owners want a ground that is twice that size. The Guangzhou Evergrande Football Stadium, as it has been named in the developmental stage, should overtake the Camp Nou as the largest football-specific stadium on Earth when it is completed, becoming the joint 3rd most expensive sports venue ever built in the process. Construction began on the new ground in April 2020, and it is expected to open in 2022. Unlike with many of the stadiums in this 7, when Chinese construction companies set a completion date, they tend to stick to it. Once completed, the stadium will be able to accommodate 100,000 fans, supposedly in unparalleled comfort, and all for only $1.7 billion, which is enough to build the Emirates Stadium 5 times over. Evergrande certainly aren't short of cash, owned primarily by the Evergrande Real Estate Group, which is the most valuable real estate company in the world, and Alibaba, which is the 6th most valuable publicly traded company of any kind on the planet. Guangzhou Evergrande's new stadium will be much more than just a stadium, as almost a city in of itself, with a vast array of business and entertainment facilities in the surrounding area. There is one danger to the club though, and that is that Barcelona have plans to expand the Camp Nou to 105,000 seats, thus stealing their title of the largest football-specific stadium on Earth before they have even played a game. So that is it for today's video. Thank you all as ever for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you did in the comments, and also give us a like, and feel free to subscribe to HITC Sevens. Oh, and you can also follow me on Twitter or Instagram, where the username is just at HITC Sevens on both.